Emmerdale viewers are certain that Bear Wolf did not kill Ray Walters. Fans of the ITV soap believe they have uncovered the real person behind Ray Walters' death in an unexpected storyline twist. Regular viewers will recall that drug dealer Ray stabbed his cruel mother, Celia Daniels, to death on New Year's Day after she interfered with his plan to start a new life with Laurel Thomas. Ray later met a violent end himself when his body was seen being dragged through the village shortly before the Corrie crossover aired. After an intense week of flashback episodes, it was revealed that Bear Wolf was responsible for Ray's death while defending his son, Paddy Kirk, from Ray's deadly threat. To cover up what his father had done, Paddy hid Bear away in a remote house, echoing the way Bear was previously held captive on Ray and Celia's farm last year. Tuesday's episode showed Bear escaping from the house and trying to find the place where his friend Anya was buried. However, Caleb and Ruby Milligan noticed him while out walking before he could reach the spot. A panicked Paddy agreed to take his father to hospital, where police were waiting to question them. In Wednesday's episode, now streaming on ITVX, a long-absent Graham Foster shocked his ex-wife Kim Tate and her step-grandson Joe by appearing at Home Farm despite having been believed dead for 6 years. Both Kim and Joe were left reeling by Graham's sudden return. Police soon arrived searching for Graham and made it clear they wanted to question him at the station. Graham assumed Kim had contacted them, but it was later revealed that Joe was the one who alerted the authorities. "You were gone, and you should have stayed gone," Joe said, while Kim added, "Oh dear, that bullet you were ready to take. Look who's holding the gun now." As a result, many Emmerdale fans are now convinced that Bear was not responsible for Ray's death, with growing theories pointing to Graham as the real killer. Viewers may remember that Graham visited his former partner, Rona Goskirk, on the day Ray died, after learning that April Windsor had become involved with the drug dealer. He later attacked Ray inside the church hall and slipped away when Joe heard the noise. This has led to questions over whether Graham confronted Ray again after Bear's altercation. One fan wrote on Facebook, "I still don't believe Bear killed Ray. That was just a sleeper hold from wrestling," while another added, "That's exactly what I thought. I've watched wrestling long enough to know it wasn't fatal." A third viewer suggested, maybe Ray actually died from the injuries Graham gave him during the beating. Everyone thinks Bear did it, so Graham gets away with it. Another fan echoed the idea, saying, "What if this was all a setup and Ray didn't die when Bear grabbed him? Graham could have turned up afterward." Someone else agreed, adding, "Bear isn't a murderer. I'm convinced Graham delivered the final blow, and we just don't know it yet." Joe Tate is set to expose a painful secret in Emmerdale tonight, following Graham Foster's dramatic return. "The lights had gone out on me." In tonight's episode, Joe opens up about deeply emotional experiences as he tries to process the shock of Graham being alive. Feeling betrayed by someone he once looked up to as a father figure, Joe shares how Graham's supposed death 6 years ago left lasting scars. Wednesday's scenes in the Dales largely focus on just 3 characters, Joe, Graham, and Kim Tate, with only a brief interruption from the police. As Joe and Kim struggle to absorb the truth about Graham, it becomes clear that life at Home Farm has been permanently altered. Graham's reappearance gives the show a chance to explore what Joe's life was really like during the years he spent away from the village. In an unusually vulnerable moment, Joe reflects on how everything fell apart when he believed Graham had been murdered. "Grief feels like something gripping your throat and refusing to release you," Joe admits. When Graham suggests Joe still had his future ahead of him, Joe fires back. "Do you have any idea how close that future came to disappearing? Everything went dark for me. I stopped eating. I stopped sleeping. I was just forcing anything into my body to dull the pain. Pills, opioids. If you keep doing that, it takes its toll. Your organs begin to shut down, and suddenly you're lying on an operating table, trying to replace a kidney you almost destroyed." As emotions boil over, Joe lashes out at Graham for cutting himself off for so many years. He also turns his anger toward Kim, accusing her of pushing Graham away and making it feel too dangerous for him to ever come back. Actor Andrew Scarborough, who portrays Graham, previously teased the episode, saying, "It was fantastic. It felt like a play for today. It gave us space to really explore the characters, and the writing was excellent." The scenes are intentionally intense, as they should be, because someone returning from the dead is such an extreme situation. I absolutely loved filming these moments. It felt like a tennis match, constantly batting energy back and forth, which is exactly how great scenes should work. I think other actors will understand what I mean. Wife Moira struggles behind bars. Next week, Kane makes a shocking discovery when he visits Moira in prison, and it quickly becomes clear that life behind bars is far harsher than he imagined. Anxiety and dread overwhelm him as he sees the toll the experience is taking on his wife, knowing he feels powerless to protect her. Moira's nightmare begins when she is arrested and charged with the murders of Anya and Celia, following the discovery of 2 bodies on her property. While viewers are fully aware that Moira is completely innocent, the evidence against her paints a damning picture. Much of the tension stems from the fact that Celia had been meticulously framing Moira for crimes in the months leading up to her death, leaving the authorities with what appears to be a watertight case. Desperate to clear Moira's name, Kane and the rest of the Dingle family band together, crafting a plan to expose the truth. However, achieving justice will be far from straightforward, and viewers are left wondering whether they can overcome the seemingly insurmountable odds. Celia's own scheming is highlighted in the storyline. She had Anya buried at Butler's farm, wrapped in Moira's blanket, boasting to Ray that the real criminals could escape punishment if the body were ever found. Ironically, Celia's own life was cut short when she was stabbed by Ray, who in turn met his fate at the hands of Beowulf, adding a complex chain of events that have left the village reeling. When Kane visits Moira in prison, his concern reaches a new level as he is confronted by the extent of her suffering. Moira enters the visiting room with a massive black eye, an Emmerdale insider explains. Her fellow inmates are convinced she is guilty and have already turned against her. Kane is deeply worried for her safety and feels completely helpless. The ordeal seems never-ending. D.S. Walsh is leading the investigation against Moira, who was already under suspicion for fraud and human trafficking, accusations that were part of Celia's plan to frame her before her death. Meanwhile, Ruby Milligan's suspicions following her strange encounters with Bear lead to the bodies of Anya and Celia being discovered, escalating the drama even further. As the story unfolds, viewers are left questioning which villagers will stand by Moira and which may abandon her when the pressure intensifies. With Kane and the Dingles determined to fight for her, the coming episodes promise heart-stopping tension, emotional confrontations, and shocking revelations. Emmerdale continues to air weeknights at 8 p.m. on ITV1, with full episodes available to stream on ITVX.